Maypole Farm, and it is what's going to be a very busy month of October. And the first thing I want to do in October is harvest the soybeans. They are ready. The sugar beet actually aren't, so that's going to be a November job, which is later than I expected. But I have a recollection that we might have planted those right at the end of the planting window, so we're going to have to wait. I've borrowed combine number 2 from DS Agri because it was the one that was parked next to the grain header. So that was the selection criteria. What I didn't notice at the start, but noticed a little bit later on, is we need to install GPS on this one. I appear to have not added GPS when I brought this one, so we are doing this GPS-less to, stick with how I'm playing on here. And you may or may not remember that some time ago I set this map up so that we would get straw from soybeans and canola. So we are getting some soybean straw off of this. It's just normal base game straw. I did that because I want to say last year when I was setting this up, which I think it was around harvest last year, there was a lot of YouTube farmers talking about using soybean and canola straw in the UK. So that's why I added them, because they are a thing that gets used in the UK. I think some of that maybe last year was because I think straw yields were low last year. But it kind of helps us out a little bit, because otherwise I wouldn't get much straw out of the year. And I think this year we pretty much ran out of straw, or close to, if we didn't actually run out. Actually, no, I think I sold straw. Ignore that. Anyway, it gives us some more straw, and this will most likely be going for bedding for the cows. Speaking of the cows, so we currently have some of them overgrazing in the pasture that we brought. I think they may stay out through October, or I might bring them back at the end of October, sort of late on, sometime in October 3. But I'm just going to bring them back and put them in the existing sheds. So there's currently 12 cows over there, and I do have capacity in one of the sheds to bring them over. So that's what I'm planning to do. Just resetting the precision farming yield map and information, because I forgot. I'm really bad at remembering to do that, actually. That field looks like it's going to need a scan soon. Or sorry, an agronomist visit soon. Yeah. I've lost my train of thought. The cows, we're going to bring them back over to the farm and put them back in it's the far cow shed that you can see now. The closer one had a lot more calves when we got calves a little while ago, so that will even out the amount of cows in each shed. Now, the ones that are coming back are a little older, but I think we'll be okay. Just gonna have to put more feed in, and then the plan will be that once spring comes, those cows and the calves that we got will be turned out onto the pasture to let them graze through the summer, through spring and summer and autumn, to fatten up. Well, not to fatten up, to get older, so that they eventually have calves and produce cows and milk. That's what cows do. They self-replicate, with the bonus of a tasty beverage in there. I don't know where I'm going. I have had a buttload of migraine medication this morning, and have been asleep because my head hurt a lot, and woken up feeling migraine free, but definitely feeling the effects of the medication. So yeah. I say thanks actually to the folks that are offering suggestions about dealing with migraines. They are much appreciated. I actually tried to get a doctor's appointment this morning, and our doctors has a couple of methods for getting an appointment. The least successful is phoning them, because the gatekeepers of appointments, or receptionists, are not always willing to dish out appointments to people, because that's clearly their job. Actually, I think it is part of their job. But anyway, so our doctor surgery has an online system where you can fill a form in, and I have found that if I fill in the form completely accurately for how my headaches are, they will not deal with it. So I sat and did it this morning whilst dealing with the aura effects that I've been getting recently, which meant it was really hard to read what I was typing. I got to the point where they said, "I'm sorry, we can't help you." Not in an American accent, but you know what I mean. And I gave up because I could feel a proper migraine coming on. Annoyingly, I had 2 work meetings to get through this morning with it, which I just about managed, and then I took a load of medication and fell asleep, because that's one of the best ways I found of dealing with it. So I would say it's a real plus of being able to work from home, was taking the medication and sleeping away the pain, because if I was in the office I wouldn't have been able to do that. This is me. You can see I put GPS on, and then I realised, oh, I can't use GPS on here, so switched it off again, which is it annoyed me at the time, to be honest, but in reality it really didn't matter that much. It's not a big field to be harvesting without GPS. Yeah, so I don't know what I was doing there. Oh well. Going to go and see a doctor about migraines again. I was hunting around this morning, finding all of my meds out again, and got those on standby. I didn't so I have a collection of migraine medication options, from a tablet through to an injectable drug, prescription injectable drug, I should add. And I went with some oral medication, which worked well enough. If I go for the injection, the hangover afterwards is so bad that I will only use those if it's a really bad headache. And the tricky thing is everything works much better if you take it when it's coming on. So I wasn't able to do that. I'd had the funny eye thing, and the migraine was just starting to bite, as I had to be in a couple of work meetings. But I've been asleep for, I think, 2.5 hours. So that's sort of helped. And I'm doing this because it's fun. So it's kind of nice to just chill out a little bit and ramble away at the microphone. Yeah. So combine is full. Got our first 10,000 litres off this field. We're not going to get a huge amount, but this is meant as a cash crop. I don't remember, because I'm playing on hard difficulty. I don't remember what a best price is for soybeans on harder difficulty, so we'll see how it works out. The improvised animal sheds released on Friday, which was really cool. Annoyingly, it did release on a massive mod release day, which was less cool. I think I actually still managed to be on the front page, but not by much. Annoyingly, both major mod reviewers failed to pick up on the key things of how that mod works with the whole manure spawning in the shed, which really frustrated me. Yeah, I can understand that there wasn't a way for them to work out, you know, how that happened, given that it only said it in the mod description and there was only a video which they could have clicked on to see how they worked. Like Looney Farm Guy, who did a really good review of my mod. So if you like mod reviews and you like smaller channels, go check out Looney Farm Guy. He's done good mod reviews of all platform mods. It's on PlayStation 5, so yeah, I mean that's a really cool benefit, because I'm pretty sure this person doesn't watch my videos, but I have a Disturbed Simulations Facebook thing that I created that I do not use, and I don't use it for anything anymore. I don't engage with it, and on Friday I got a message from someone saying, do you make mods to request? No, I ignored that. They then messaged me last night as I was going to bed, it doesn't work, I'm on PS5. Which is great when you've got a brain like mine and you're about to try and go to sleep and you think things don't work. So the reason these two stories are linked is Looney Farm Guy is on PS5, and so I watched his review of the improvised animal sheds and they worked. And as I was watching it, this really nice person then messaged me again on Facebook to say, oh no, they do work. So, you know, yeah, not anywhere in any of my content do I mention Facebook as a way of contacting me. Yes, it is a Disturbed Simulation Facebook account, but I don't use it. So basically, if people try and contact me through that, they won't get a response. I should disable it or delete it or something, but yeah, there are enough sources of messages that I get. Yeah. And, you know, I just didn't appreciate it last night. Maybe it's because I had migraines all of yesterday as well, but who knows. Yes, I'm going to go to the doctors and get them checked before you all whinge at me. Thank you. You know, it's because you care. Yeah, so actually the improvised animal sheds is doing really well. The rating has only dropped. It's down at 4.5. It was at 4.8. So I'm wondering if that's because the capacity is set to be somewhat realistic, because a lot of people seem to comment on the fact that a small cow shed only holds a small number of cows, for example. You know, I'm pretty sure you couldn't fit 1,000 cows in that little ass shed that I made. So there is that. That might be it, you know. But it's a small shed. It won't have lots of animals in it. That's how it works. So, first trailer full. I think we'd finished the field as well. And there are 79 litres of soybeans left in the combine, which I'm going to leave for now. And we'll crack on with getting the straw baled and put in the shed. So, some idiot left a tractor in the way. So, I swapped tractors because I actually, and I'm never 100% on multiplayer and balers and bales. So I had swapped ownership of the baler across to my farm. I think I actually did that after I did this swap, and I therefore figured I better attach it to my tractor. So that's why I've done the swap. Yeah. So, other things to talk about. Future mods. So, I do intend to extend that pack now. So, Cavalier Roy has given me permission to use the buildings that he created that are part of his maps. So, I need to have a look through those and see if there are any interesting options for turning into animal sheds. He actually sent me a part completed one that he'd worked on in 19. So need to have a look at that as well. So yeah, I'm planning to either do something fresh, because it'll be more sort of UK styled, or add to that pack. So that's a plan. I don't have any other mods particularly in planning at the moment. It's generally not how it works for me. I will generally get a moment of inspiration and start working on something. But things like expanding that pack is probably a sensible thing to do. So, and I might have to put big spray painting writing on the outside. The poo spawns in the building. I wouldn't get through giants testing. Next series, not Siri. So I think I mentioned in the last Greenlands episode, rest in peace Greenlands, that we're going to be going to Saxthorpe Farm. And I still like the idea of an own the map challenge. I'm not sure what criteria that's going to be, because there are some quite expensive plots of land on that map, or some quite expensive things. So still working on how I'm going to do that. I probably will be starting recording that this week. So may have already started. Actually, it's going to be the middle of the week before this comes out. I'll have probably started recording it. The other thing that I have coming up in the next couple of days are I'm going to do a tour of Saxthorpe, just to have a look around, show you guys what the map looks like now. It's not necessarily the final version, but I think it's close to the version that will be going off to Mod Hub. So and that may mean that as I play, I have to swap versions of map. That's not a problem for me. Even if it says needs a new save, we have our ways. The other thing that I'm planning to do is a look at Glenleith from Glenleithan. I calling it Glenleith because I'm a bit lazy with the typing. I think it's Glenleithan, something like that. Cavalier Roy's new map, which is going through testing prior to Mod Hub submission at the moment. So, it's got people play testing it basically. And there's a bunch of stuff that I've done for that map, which I want to show off to you guys. So you can see, we both think they're quite cool additions to the map. So I wanted to show those off. I'll do a bit of a quick show off of the map as well. I'll do what I've done previously for map tours and fly around a bit and show you guys what it looks like. Mr. Mr. F, can't remember. Never sure how to pronounce your name if you're watching. If not, his name, if he's not watching. He did a really nice tour of Glenleithan, so go check that out if you are interested while you wait for me to have a look round. That might actually be tomorrow's video if I get it recorded in time. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that. Hopefully you can't hear the lawnmower that's running outside my window. That would be really annoying if you can, because I'll have to re-record all of this. So yeah, got a couple of map tours hopefully coming up this week, and then we're going to get into a new series, which is going to be cool. Because the last new series I started was Attingham, I think, which was still a very long time ago. Must have been October, November when May's Plus released. So yeah, a very long time ago. This series, or that series, the series on Saxthorpe, I expect will run for quite a long time as well. So it's going to be a big job to achieve something like owning the whole map, star, asterisk, or whatever. I'm not certain yet what my criteria for the whole map will be. I need to have a think about that before I actually start, because good to define these things at the beginning, although there'll be some flex in there. The first thing that springs to mind is there is a pretty heftily expensive BGA on there, so I might skip that, for example. We'll see. I don't know what other production is built into the map. I'm So I may exclude productions, for example, from what I need to own to consider myself done. I might set it to be all farmable land, something like that. We'll see. We'll see. Right. Nice bit of straw coming off this field. From what I remember, I set the straw yield lower than the yield for normal crops, but I am not sure because I did this a while ago. I may have set it to be the same. So either way, we've got a nice number of bales off of it. I'm trying to drop them in pairs mostly because that just works better for the manual stacking. They're square bales as well, which is a bonus. Square bales, so much better to stack. Well, that's a rare one. I had a wrong number on my mobile phone, and it wasn't just a telemarketer, I don't think. I haven't had that in quite a while. Seems quite unusual these days with modern telephone directory agent stuff. Anywho, we're pretty much done with the baling. As I said, I was trying to drop them in pairs to make stacking easier. So I hooked the combine trailer back up to the combine once the header was on, so that's why the tractor is abandoned up here. I'll send those and the baler back over to DS Agri once I've finished. Mainly, the reason I say once I've finished is because I forgot to send them back, and that has pretty much reminded me that the what I did is once I'd finished combining, I came out of the game and swapped the baler ownership over so that I got the bales, and forgot after that to send the combine off to run back up to DS Agri. So let's hook up a rear weight because bales are heavy, and we'll grab the bale fork and we will get these bales put away. We've got a half decent stock of straw to get us into the winter. I think it might be time. I don't know. We don't use as much straw. One thing I have noticed is that we are spending a heck of a lot on water a month. And I don't know which mod is driving that, whether it's these cows or whether it's the cows in the pasture. So probably what I'm going to do when I get round to it, because last month it was 8 grand, which is quite a lot for water. I'm probably going to at least the pasture switch over so that I can take water to them in the spring. Possibly the cow sheds as well I may set up so that we can deliver water to them, just to try and save a bit of cash. It was quite a shock when I looked and realized just how much we were spending on water for, and it's just water for the cows. And yeah, 8 grand feels like a lot in a month for a water bill. Don't know, but it does to me. I'm assuming that I can pump water out of the lake that's just north of us. So yeah, I might have a look at that, try and increase our profitability, because it's quite a chunk every month to be paying out, and that's going to get worse. And that's not going to get worse, and it's going to get worse as the cows get older. So definitely something I want to have a look at. Nice bit of manual bale stacking now. So 2 things. These square bales on this bale fork worked really well. So that meant that the next bit, I really enjoy bale stacking in FS most of the time. Those round bales last time, or a couple of videos ago, were not fun. Had a couple of suggestions from people. One is that it might be rounder wrapped round wrapped rounder round bales. Don't know. The other one was that other people have found similar in that if you have the bales so they are, I guess, stood up rather than laying down, they can be worse to handle. So yeah, that's a thing. It makes me wish we had a bale turner on the back of the baler that we've got. The only one that I'm currently thinking that has that is the newer ones that came with one of the free content updates. The Massey and a Fent one, I think. So those feel too new for on here at the moment, but at some point I could see us getting one of those, or just a square bale wrapper, because square bales are so much nicer to work with. For some reason the bales were very sticky there and a little bit twitchy. I probably shouldn't have gone 7 bales high, given that's the only stack that I've put that high. But what could possibly go wrong? Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? So I had a play with the new Potinger forage wagon after this video to do some indirect grazing, and she's heavy. It's a heavy beast, and wet grass is also heavy, and so I could only get about 15,000 litres in it. So we've doubled what we could take with the old one, but not up to the maximum capacity by a long way. So that was a bit of a shock. Something I've noticed actually as well in this, and after this I did some multiplayer contracting with Cartech and Unexpected Bill, is that the game doesn't seem to be, so I play with trailer weight fill limit thingy enabled, and normally it would say that it's reached the max weight and so you can't put any more in, but over the weekend it was just saying you can't put any, it was just not letting us put any more in without saying that it was at the trailer weight limit, which was a bit annoying. It's just a tad annoying. And with so we were doing some potato harvesting contracts, and once I knew roughly what the amount was, if it stopped I knew that was why. But it really threw me with the forage wagon as to why I couldn't put any more in, because it's like, why does it keep turning off? It's not full. And it wasn't saying that it was at max weight, so that was a bit weird. I get that fresh wet grass is heavy, but you know, what else are we going to talk about? I think I mentioned the hay and forage extension in the last video, so not going to talk any more about that at the moment, I guess, except if you're really interested in buying it, use code disturbed, go with that definitely, because you know that stuff kind of helps. Again, I am unorganized with a pen, but we'll go with I have found a pen, which is cool. And at the same point, we'll also say thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel. You are awesome. And that has lost me my hay and forage extension. Yeah, so it feels a lot like the Alpine DLC. I almost watched Farm Sim News, but just not in a space to listen to those two witter on, so I didn't. But I was kind of curious as to what they thought about hay and forage extension, but my brain couldn't cope with their noise, so I didn't watch it. That's how I am. And quite often, if there's something on one of those I'm really interested in and they've got timestamps, I will just jump to the timestamp and listen to that bit. I haven't listened to, but I saw DJ put in his daily Farm Sim News thing about why are there less mods at the moment. I've not watched that. I'm going to speculate it's because mods are failing testing. So, you know, in some ways, I think the testing list is really bad in the way that it's implemented, because, you know, Giants publish these are all the mods in testing. And I think they are generally shown on that list if they're going to be shown at the point of first testing. I'm remembering that I've spoken about this very recently, but I'll just mention it again. And the you know, fact that they go into testing doesn't necessarily mean they will even ever pass testing. So, you know, I know of mods that have gone into testing with Giants, been tested a couple of times, and the modder has decided he can't be bothered to battle the process to get it released. So, you know, there are mods that will appear on the testing list that you will never see, potentially. But more common is a mod will appear on the testing list, and then it may take 2 or 3 rounds of failing testing to get to the point that it can be released. And so sometimes the reason there's only 1 or 2 mods is that's all the mods that pass testing. And I think Giants maybe need to either post they post like a number of mods waiting, number of days waiting to be tested. Maybe they should post number of mods failed as well, so that, you know, they don't just think, oh, why have Giants only tested 2 mods this week or whatever, you know. I was going to say that they have standards, but it did frustrate me on one thing. So 2 things. So Kartek had his sugar beet bunker, and he got that through testing and got that released, which is really cool. But Giants made him change the pricing from pounds to dollars, because, you know, no one, the whole of the English speaking world uses dollars. I didn't do that for mine, and they didn't pick it up, so that's one thing. But Giants are generally, in my experience, quite particular about mod descriptions. And then there was a mod that released a couple of days ago which had a 3-word mod description. It was something like 40 pieces feet, I believe. Now, I'm not picking on the modder. I suspect English is not their first language, so that's fine. But when I write a mod description and then I translate it to German and French, which are the languages that I do at the moment, Giants will often rewrite the German and the French bits for me to improve the language. And I know Giants speak English, so they could have improved that. And yeah, there's a bit of inconsistency, it would seem, at the moment. Last bale being picked up. As I said, I really enjoyed this bale stacking today. The bales were generally very well behaved, and it was a lot of fun, and that's why I just left the camera recording, and my expectation was that I would cut bits out, you know, but actually I didn't. This was been the whole baling process. I sometimes recording some of these things, yeah, so quite often what you see on the screen is 90% of what I record. It's probably about right for this one. I've dropped a few bits out that didn't make the final cut, I guess, just for a, you know, nicer looking end product, really, no other reason. But it's rare that I will leave the camera running for such an extended period. I think this is a single 13 to 14 minute recording on top of the stuff that was recorded before. So anyway, I am going to say thanks for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I did not count how many bales we got, but I think it's about 12, so feels about right. And our maize has finished fermenting, which is cool. We are going to get into TMR again through the winter, so looking in the sales to see if a cheap TMR mixer pops up at any point, because that would be rather cool. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, click the like button. Any comments, questions or suggestions, stick them below, and I will see you next time on Maypole Farm.